Hey guys, what's up? It's Bunky, and today I wanted to make a Blue Eyes deck profile because Guardragons got banned today, so we need a new deck new deck style, I guess, for Blue Eyes without Guardragons. And in my opinion, this is probably the best version of Blue Eyes at the moment, because there isn't that many Blue Eyes decks that are that competitive without Guardragons in it. So I made this here. And I've been play testing it for a while. I actually played Blue Eyes without Guardragons even before. So this is the profile. If you guys have watched my older videos, you might know I have a video of a Blue Eyes deck profile when Alternative Ultimate Dragon came out. This deck is really similar to that. It's just tweaked a little better, and I fixed a couple cards to make it more consistent. So if you've already watched that, this video it's kind of the same, but I'm going to make this video a little bit more in depth. But for all the new people that are just trying to find a Blue Eyes version without Guardragons, this deck's for you. So yeah, this deck has some really underrated cards in it that make Blue Eyes, in my opinion, a little bit underrated. They're like going under the radar as people say they're like really bad and unplayable in today's metagame. I'm gonna say it's not the best deck, but there is a couple cards that if you can get out, you kind of just you can win the game. Sometimes you can just get some win conditions out. So this deck has fusions, synchros, XYZ. It's like the whole $5 meal deal in here. So yeah, let's get right into the deck profile. Of course, the 3 Blue Eyes. The LB reprint in the Megatins is my favorite one. I just like Secret Rare, this art the best. 3 alternative, you need more names for the King of the Swamp play that are Blue Eyes, so alternative without 3 alternative Blue Eyes, I would say, is probably not very competitive. But I'm going to be making a Blue Eyes budget deck profile without the alternative, so if you wanted to see that, consider subscribing for that. Then the other level, or the big dragon dudes, is the 1 Dragon Spirit of White. I banish it off Desires sometimes, so I kind of want to bump it up to 2, but I feel like I'd brick too much, so I only play 1. The run Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon for combo extender, and he's really good. He's like, normally if I get him, I'll get 1 Heroic Seal and probably a Blue Eyes Alternative Dragon, or like a synchro monster. So this guy's like really good. I'd probably play 3 of them if I could, but you can only play 1. And then the 1 Tempest. I didn't have this in the older deck profile. I decided to add Tempest in as this card is literally just to try to get Heroic Seal out for some play extends. So the one main problem I have with it sometimes I don't have enough dragon targets to banish, but just having the option to go into it from like Foolish Burial, Dragon Shrine is really nice. So those are the 9 big boss or the big dragons, I guess I should call it. In this particular build, I didn't think Sage was that good because I have other normal summons, and I needed, because this deck is heavily based off the Heroic Spheres of Heavenly Spheres, whatever that synchro monster is called, and because Sage isn't a dragon monster, it doesn't work out so much. So what I actually decided to do is have 3 Scrambled Egg and 2 Sunny Side Up Egg, because they're both dragons, so I can normal summon them, and then go for either Link, Rebo, or Heroic Seal, and then I have, it's a +1 because they all do stuff in graveyard. So yeah, I decided to play 3-2 ratio because I thought that was the best. I'm playing the 1 Lone Black Dragon Collapse Serpent. This card's really good. It's literally just a free summon for Heroic Seal, and then that's literally all you do with it. The 1 Glow Bulb synchros in Blue Eyes are really good. 1 synchro that I think is heavily underrated is Spirit Dragon, because nobody really looks at it nowadays because Blue Eyes is, people say, is underrated, but it's literally shuts down Orcus, shuts down Thunder, and Thunder and Orcus are 2 big contenders, because right now I think that Orcus got hit Thunder and Pendulum Magician are like the only 2 decks that are full power right now, or like the top 5 decks that are full power. And Thunder being a really big contender, because Blue Eyes Spirit, when he's on the field, it locks out graveyard effects. This card's like a really nice counter to Thunder and Orchest. So I think that's really underlooked. So the 1 Gloat Bulb, just to have a better chance of summoning the Synchro Dragon, is really nice. And to finish off the monsters, the 2 King of the Swamp. I didn't want this deck to be only fusion, like fusion spam, because I know Sam's video, Team Samurai X1, he made it the Blue Eyes Ultimate Alternative Dragon video, and then he had the Piranha Plant engine, and I felt like that took too much space and it bricked too much. So the double King of the Swamp, in my opinion, is better. If you don't know what it does, you can discard it from hand to search Polymerization, or from your hand, field, or graveyard, it can be used as a fusion material for any monster. So that's actually really relevant that it can be from the graveyard, because you can use this card for Dragon's Mirror. So it's actually really relevant. This card's really good. I'm thinking of bumping up to 3. I just don't have the space, and you never really want to open up 2 Polymerizations or 1 King of the Swamp. Or 2 King of the Swamps, I mean. But it's nice at 2, I feel. I could bump it up to 3. I don't know. I don't know how much I want this deck to be. It consistently summons fusion monsters, in my opinion. I'd say 4 to 5 games I can summon a fusion pretty consistently. Off to the spells. I'm pretty sure that's 18 monsters, 22 spells. Triple Melody, best spell card in Blue Eyes, in my opinion. The 3 Trade-In, it just ditches your level 8. It's really self-explanatory. The double Desires, a lot of people don't like it, Desires, but in Blue Eyes especially, we're playing so many 3 or 2-ofs that Pot of Desires doesn't hurt, and it's a +1, where people say the biggest flaw with Blue Eyes is it bricks sometimes. So Pot of Desire always unbricks your hands just about, and you only want to play 2 because you never want to draw into another one or have 2 in your hand at all. You only really want to activate 1, but it's not good enough to play 3, in my opinion. And then the 1 Upstart Goblin, I have all my reasonings of why to play. If you're playing Desires, you should always play Upstart Goblin. It's just some mathematical stuff, putting this deck to 39 cards, and it's like a free card. You can banish off Desires, and if you draw it, it's just like you get a free card. And the giving your opponent 1,000 life points is like literally not relevant, because we have monsters that can OTK in 1 turn. Like we have a monster in this deck that can do 13,500 damage in 1 turn. So like the 1,000 damage really isn't relevant, or 1,000 life points you give your opponent really isn't relevant. So those are like the search or draw cards. And then for Revival, we play 3 Return, 1 Monster Reborn. I didn't decide to play Silver's Cry and all the other Revival spells, because I felt like this deck is doing a lot of banishing, so I didn't have the most targets. It's not like back when Blue Eyes was at its prime. The whole idea was to revive big monsters and then go into XYZ or XYZ or Synchro plays, but we can't really do that anymore. So the four Revival cards, in my opinion, is good enough, and I just love this card. It looks so nice. Sorry, I just had to show that off because I got that in a Mega Tin and I was like really happy. Then we have 2 Dragon Shrines. You want to dump your cards for Dragon's Mirror or to grab their effects from it, because Blue Eyes interacts with the graveyard like a lot, and then being able to send like White Stone of Ancients or Legends, to the graveyard is really nice, and 2 of them, in my opinion, is the correct ratio with the 1 Foolish Burial. People like the 1 Dragon Shrine and 1 Foolish because you can only activate once per turn, but we play with Desires, so normally you'll banish 1, and sometimes it does happen where you draw both, but it doesn't happen enough that it matters, so I feel like having 2 to 1 is the best ratio. So those are like the ditching cards, and then we have the 2 Dragon Mirror and the 2 Polymerization. The fusion spells, we have to play 2 because we play Pot of Desires. I hate playing 2, but you kind of have to. And then the Dragon's Mirror is like really good. If you see Dragon's Mirror, it's normally a free fusion summon, but if you open 2, then it's just a brick. So we only play 2, and then the 2 Polymerizations I have to play 2 because we have Desires, and yeah. And then to finish off the main deck, we play the 2 Dark Ruler No More, because this deck, I'd say the majority, you can go second, and then you can not care about your opponent's board and just go off your plays, because this card combos with really nice with Alternative Ultimate. Because if you don't know what this does, if you summon him with an alternative, he can pop 3, but he can't attack that turn. So if you have Dark Ruler No More and you can't do battle damage anyways, this is just a free pop, or it doesn't really matter. This card, what I'm trying to say is this card doesn't really matter with this, because popping 3 you couldn't attack anyways, so then doing the damage doesn't really matter. So in this particular build, I think main decking 2 Dark Ruler No More is really nice going second. And I didn't decide to play Nibiru or anything like that because I felt like Nibiru, as Orcus got hit and Guardragon got hit, there isn't as many combo decks, and this deck can already, of course, this guy pops 3, alternative pops 1, and then I can just attack over just about everything. The board, we already have some nice board breaking, so we don't really need any of the Nibirus or anything. So I played 2 Dark Ruler No More to finish off the main deck with exactly 40 cards, 22 spells, and the 18 monsters. I'm not going to show a side deck here because side deck's all personal preference, and I'm going to be quite honest, at this moment in time I don't know what the meta is, because Orcus just got hit, Sky Striker just got hit, so it's going to be a little confusing. People are saying heroes might be becoming relevant. I don't know, we'll have to see about that, but I'm not putting a side deck because it's all personal preference, and whatever your locals is of course whatever the side deck will be effective. So yeah, to the extra deck we play for the fusion lineup 2 alternative Ultimate Dragon. If you know what he does, you need 3 Blue Eyes monsters to summon him. If one of them were alternative, you can pop 3 and then not attack that turn with this card, or you can pop 1 and attack. So he's basically like normal effect, he's alternative and he can attack, but then when you want to go complete sicko mode with him, he can pop 3, which is really nice. Twin Burst, it's an underrated card. I just like having it in here because we're already fusion summoning so much, so if you can't make the full 3, you can make the 2. So a lot of the times I can make this guy, and then I'd only have 2 more Blue Eyes, so I can make this guy instead of a second one. So he's nice, and then because we're not spamming the board with monsters, because Blue Eyes isn't the best deck for spamming, this card is kind of like our mini Boral Load or mini Boral Sword. So he's nice. And then the most underrated card in my opinion is probably Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. This card's so good. It can OTK so often, so sometimes only not having enough materials to go full combo is actually nice, because this guy can attack 3 times, and then that's like 4,500 times 3 is what is it, 1350, 13,500. But this guy does a lot of damage. He can OTK very easily, and I just really like the artwork. Some people play 2 because what he can do, or what he does, is when he's on the field and he's the only card on your side, he ditches the other fusion monsters, and then he can attack up to 3 times. But when this guy's in the graveyard, you can banish it from the graveyard and protect the dragon monster. So the play is attack with him, banish a second copy of him, and then protect him from whenever they try to pop him. But the Blue Eyes is so tight that, in my opinion, it's not necessarily worth it. For the Synchro monsters, probably the second most underrated card. It's not. The thing is, it's not underrated. Or it is, but it's just that nobody talks about this card, because this card's like, people are saying how good cards like DD Crow are, so people can't use their graveyards and that type of thing. But this card's just literally, I can get this just about every turn, and it shuts off your opponent's graveyard, making Blue Eyes have a little bit, or a little more competitive play than I think people think Blue Eyes does. The one Azure, because you can tag off to him if it's, this card's more of a late game, giving this deck a little bit more of a grind game. One Michael, so we can go into the Crystal Wing play. You go with this guy into this guy, then one more link or tuner, you go into Crystal Wing, which is really nice. And then this guy can banish something once per turn. So that's like the Synchro engine. Then we play, of course, the One Hope Harbinger. In my opinion, the best generic rank 8. It can, a nice play is if you don't have full combo, you can go him and Heretic Seal, because first of all, this is just like, it bounces back. Bounces back something every turn. And then this guy, because this guy only has 0 attack, this guy can use his effect to make any attacks on him towards Hope Harbinger. So if you have this board, you get a bounce 1 card per turn, and then negate spells once per turn, and then if they try to attack him, they have to attack 3,000, which is really strong. So yeah, the One Hope Harbinger, the one Galaxy Eyes Prime Photon Dragon, the one Galaxy Eyes Full Armor Photon Dragon, and then the one Cypher Blade. This is just something to make. You don't do it often, but I think it's still nice enough to have, just because sometimes you don't want to go for the spell negation and you want to try to OTK, so this engine's nice for OTKing. It's like the icing on the cake, because we already have so much OTK power. So that's all the XYZs. And then to finish off, this deck isn't so much of a link spam deck, and because it has so many powerful fusion, XYZ, and Synchro monsters, we play the 2 link monsters. One Link Kuriboh, it's the most versatile one. It's not overpowered or anything, it just gets rid of your eggs, and then it's something nice you can put on top, and then have an extra deck monster here. But the main reason for him is because it can get rid of your eggs, and then your eggs effect happen. So he's just something, he's mandatory basically. And then the one Heretic Seal, it's really nice because once per turn you can tribute a card from your, tribute a monster from your hand or field, then it bounces one of your opponent's cards back to your, or back to their hand. So it's essentially just a negate that goes back to the hand, so it's better than a negate in my opinion, unless it's a spell card, because of course they can just activate the spell again. But you can tribute himself, and then he can summon any monster from the deck to the field, but its attack is 0 and its defense is 0, so that's not too relevant, because you can summon stuff like, if they have a floodgate you need to get rid of, Dragon Spirit to banish the floodgate. You can go Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon to revive you can revive Dragon Spirit, or you can go into a various amount of stuff. But he's a nice play extender, and just having that option to summon stuff from the deck is nice. So he's quite this deck's nowhere as good without this card. So Blue Eyes is in a weird state right now where I wouldn't say it's competitive, like you could win a YCS with it. But I think just how the meta is forming, this deck's getting like it's getting more viable as the metagames are shifting, and not that this deck, the cards wise, are getting that much better. I mean, this card made the deck a little bit better, but just how the metagame's shifting, I feel like it's starting to get a little bit stronger. So yeah, this is my Blue Eyes competitive deck profile after the Guardragons got hit with no Guardragons. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Bunky.